Hey there, it's Chris. Welcome back to the Yoshitaka Mono Final Fantasy V project here, where, as you can tell, last time we'd finally finished sculpting and modeling everything out. We'd hardened him, and last time we spent time just priming, put a little bit of paint on this guy. And this time we're going to see if we can keep adding more colors to mid here and get him looking a little more finished. So, since last time, all I've done is I added 2 more coats of yellow to the hair, and frankly, I can probably use another 2 coats because yellow doesn't cover at all. But we're not going to deal with that this time. It's close enough at this point. I can keep doing that off camera. So I want to get the books, the shoes. I need to tone down the pants here, and then maybe get a coat of something on the cloak here, and the next time we'll kind of finish things off. However, first thing I want to do is I want to give him eyes. Because although it looks like his eyes are closed, it's more like the eyelids are halfway shut, not all the way shut. So, I can't do that with the camera here because I need my own glasses off in order to see what's going on. So I need to add just a little bit of white to the eye right now so I can add an iris later on during this session. Am I on camera? Yes, I am. So we're not going to go too crazy with this. I just want a little bit of white down there, which may or may not be visible in the end. Yes, we have just a little bit of white on there. Not much, just a little. That's all we really need. Let's see, can you see what I'm seeing? Kind of. Okay, so we need that first. I need that to dry before I do the irises. So, where'd we go? And that was done with the satin white, have a little bit of shine to it. All right, I need to wash this off because I'm going to be using this. This is my nice, very fine brush. I like this one, and I'm going to be reusing that again in the not too distant future. That said, I did actually go and rewatch the little bit on the book stuff to make sure I got the page colors correct on the book. And what that was a mixture of the beach glass with white. So we're gonna go ahead and redo that. I don't need very much. It should just be a couple drops of each thing kind of in. That should be plenty on this. It's literally 2 books, and one of them is closed. Not gonna need to worry too much about that one, but come on. Okay, that was plenty of white. That was way more white than we needed. But at the same time, all we're really looking for is an off-white kind of color. We don't want a bright, bright white on this. We just want a little bit of an off-white on here. And that kind of gives what we want. Okay, so let's see if we can get the head off to the side, so we can bring you down here. Does this help you at all see things? Kind of, almost, maybe. Because, yeah, there's going to be parts today where I just kind of keep the camera over where it is right now. Because there will be parts where I probably need to pull the glasses on and off in order to kind of see what I'm doing. So in order for everything to work out for itself, yes, it might be nicer for you not to have to worry about that. But for me, it sure would help to see what I'm doing. Although for this, no, glasses are 100% on for this because I don't really care because I haven't done any other parts. So if I hit the edges, it doesn't matter. We're going to be painting over everything anyway because the books are going to get a coat of paint later on. So don't need to be super neat about this one. And can we see it from the back? Not really. I can try to get a brush in there, but no guarantees. This one we can sure see. So let's definitely get a coat of something on here. And I did miss priming a spot down on the, am I even on camera? I did miss priming a spot on the bottom there. So let's get to that. Yeah, I'm having one of those, once again, it's kind of deja vu with the last time's video where I have just gotten back from doing a 7 mile run, having dinner, and instantly pretty much read the news and come here. So not much new is going on that. It's literally the same type of day going on. Same type of run as last time too, where I'm trying to improve my form, but my body's not necessarily used to leaning forward at the hips, kind of like what I'm supposed to be doing, so it keeps it harder staying in the correct heart rate zone that I'm aiming for. But at this point now, we're getting close to the race, so it's not as important to stay there as it was, say, a month or two ago. So I'm not super concerned. I am more concerned with whether or not I kind of stay on camera, because I feel like this camera is going to be great for me to do certain things, and it's not feeling as great for other things right now. Yeah, my hope is I'll get most of this stuff painted today, at least get a coat like on everything else going on here. And then next time, if I need touch-ups where I need to kind of change colors, I do that. If I just need touch-ups, if I need to do like additional coats, I can do that off camera. But next time is probably gonna be finishing this and then start getting into the finalization on the other stuff. That said, I have high hopes for this paint job on here. I still really don't like the paint job on the platform itself, and half of me is saying just go over and just redo everything again, kind of try to get it right. The other half saying, you know what, sometimes things work, sometimes things don't, and just deal with it. We can always come. I had a whole bunch of plastic bags with me. You're not under the cup, up on the side. Yeah, sometimes things work, sometimes things don't. Just kind of, it's the way it is. Pick the battles I'm going to go from. There might be a point in time you just say, okay, we're going to finish this project and just be done. It's okay to be done with something. What am I looking for? I'm looking for, I have a gray and I have a brown. And I'm looking, you can see my laptop right here. I'm looking at the laptop and I have a larger image on the side over here that you're looking at your side over there. And it looks like the base of his shoes are kind of a brownish, tannish, whatever kind of color, which also seems to be a good color for the back of this book here. The other book I have as a darker gray. So I'm just going to use this, do the bottom of the shoes, do the back of that book, and then we're going to go from there on that one. So let's see, I did not mix this. I didn't mix either of these two at all. So let's do a little shaky. Do a little shaking right now. Okay, let's start with the shoes, because that'd be nice if that were to dry, so then we can do the rest of the shoe. My workspace is so cluttered right now. This is terrible. Oh well, I think we're just having one of those weeks. It's not even a bad week. It just, somehow I got behind on the painting front of things, which I'm quasi-amazed with. I always think painting stuff is where I'm going to be like gaining time, and there should be no issues on that, but all of a sudden I feel like I'm behind on the painting front. So I'm a little scatterbrained right now, I guess. Everything is all over the place. This is not a great looking work environment at the moment. So forgive that. It is what it is. I really should just go and look up where that phrase came from. It is what it is. I know I've been hearing that one since college, so that phrase is decades old at this point. kind of partially curious where it actually originated from, but not curious enough to go and research it myself because I'm lazy that way. Although I can't say I'm lazy because I did just come back from work, made dinner, did a 7 mile run, and now I'm doing this kind of recording. So I'm doing stuff. I'm just lazy in other regards. Okay, let's not go ahead and paint the purple. We will be painting over that purple right after we finish with this brown stuff because I do need to tone this down quite a bit because I'm going to need the pants to be a bit of a contrast between that and the cloak that goes over. And being as the cloak is also going to be a purplish, pinkish kind of color, I do need to tone this down. It's quite a bit more white in there just to lessen that. I'm going back and forth whether I want to do the big kind of stripe thing or not. Stripes would match other colors like the Palmenporum from Final Fantasy IV and a couple others of Amano's works that he's done. However, I don't know, the straight color's not looking too bad on this as is. And so if that's kind of working without a problem, then I'm not so concerned. Hey, we got base of the shoe, part we're never going to see because it's on the ground. Okay, and we need back of book. Back of this book in particular. And now we do kind of need to cut in. So yeah, so it's details like that are kind of in the range of, do you want to rock the boat if something's working? Is it worth taking a chance and doing something else? Or do we just kind of stay with what we know is working right now? Not 100% sure the correct way to go about it, but I do know the pink I have on there, I think even for a darker part on that is too much. So that said, the color I'm using right now is raw sienna, in case I didn't actually say that before. Would be nice to say that out loud just in case I need to reuse that somewhere for something else to kind of match this or have to do another coat later on down the road. I'm like, no, what did I use? That's the entire point of doing this on camera, is we can document this type of stuff. Alright, almost there. Because really, once the cut-in is done, actually filling in the backside is really, really easy. So this is the actual work. This is the actual work, and once again, I'm doing it with glasses on, so you can't see anything back there. Let's at least give you a chance. That's not giving you a chance, but I needed to see what was going on. Alright, we almost in there. Then we'll go get that coat on the whiter purple. And then while we're waiting for that to dry, I could put the pupils in the eyes at that point, because that white's already dry enough by now to be able to do that. And I can come back, do the dark gray book. I can put a second coat on this, get this book kind of looking a little more nice. But we do, nope, you gotta go up here. You gotta go up there, because I'm gonna be using those pants. I'm gonna be using that part. Oh, we are all a mess. Nothing is on camera right now, I feel like. That, and it doesn't help that my mind is also on the other project I had mentioned last episode, the Made in Abyss, the Rico one, that I'd completely forgotten the name to, which is always great. Just like you can't, knowledge is stuck in your head sometimes. It just doesn't want to come out. And the problem is that's actually a really, really good show. That is a solid show, except it is 100% not a children's show. It is M-rated. It is very M-rated. And yeah, it's one of those bad stuff happens to good people, and good people happen to be children during the show as it goes through. So it is not intended for kids to watch that one. Which is a shame because the morals and stuff they have in there are actually really good. They could actually use it. Because the idea is there's just this basically giant hole in like this archipelago of islands kind of off in the middle of the ocean somewhere. And the deeper you go, like the better the artifacts and stuff you can find from really who knows where. It's not really described from where they come from, whatever. But so you want to go down as deep as you can to get what you can, but every time you go deeper, or the deeper and deeper you go, the more bad stuff happens to you. It kind of starts you getting like at level 1, just like getting headaches and whatnot going through, and then you kind of start getting the lightheadedness and bad stuff as you get deeper, and as you go deeper still, you get like more hallucinations and whatnot. And as you keep going down, then you start spontaneously bleeding. Go even deeper, you start like losing teeth, fingernails, stuff like that, and before you know it, you're deeper still. You essentially lose your humanity, and then get so far down that you could actually never return and never come back up again. So you're following a journey down basically to the bottom of that situation, and it's a good thing. It kind of teaches like when going gets hard, don't turn back. You have to kind of keep going towards it and whatnot. But there are elements of that show which are difficult to go through. And although it has nice, cute anime characters, it is 100% not made for kids. But I just can't believe I drew a blank on that one. It is an incredibly just well-made show. Okay. We now have much more white on here. Is that going to... Yeah, I think that's gonna help. It's going to look very light on here right now, but again, once I get more in the way of the other purple, because he does have the cloak that goes on top, I think this is going to go well. Alright, once again, we're just kind of cutting in around the bottom, kind of getting in close to the shoe without trying to hit the shoe. And that really becomes the only tricky part of this whole thing, because the rest doesn't matter, because the rest of everything is getting it. I think I might just start with just this color on here, no stripe whatsoever. We're going to do the coat of something on the cloak itself, see how the two kind of play off each other. If it looks like it wants like a contrasting thing in terms of that, it'll be like in terms of the texture, then then I might put the stripe in here. If not, I'm not too worried about it. If not, I am not too worried. Okay, let's not go so far up that I can't hold anything anymore. That would not help. So let's get the other shoe going. I can already see that I cut in really badly, mostly because it didn't matter if I cut in nice or not before. It will when I actually do the shoe itself. Then it's gonna matter a little more. I can already see this raw sienna color is gonna need at least one more coat, probably more, but that's gonna be done off camera at some other point in time. Probably tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. Because tomorrow should be, if nothing else, a really light kind of workout, and I should have time afterwards to do something with regards to this. Saturday, I don't know. Saturday is a big I'm not sure how much free time I'm going to have on that one. I am planning on doing a build for the Ultra project, so I have to build one of the obstacles and then do the recording for that one after that. So how much time I'm going to have on Saturday by the time all things are said and done, I'm not sure. So I'm just going to anticipate not doing anything with regard to this on Saturday, and we're going to do any kind of future stuff on Sunday to kind of finish. Actually, no, this, like I said, this will probably be finished tomorrow, but in terms of then moving forward maybe onto the next stage of the platform stuff and getting into my stage 5 of just adding the little stuff to make things look good. Things like the scrolls, the astrolabe, really just the astrolabe stuff. And there are a couple small painting things I can do on the platform that I know of that can help improve what it is. So I might do some of those, but I'm not sure I want to do any kind of big changes. I'm not going to go, and I don't plan on restarting that paint job kind of from scratch. If I need to go that far, that can always be done at some other point in time after this project is done in the future if I ever feel like it. Because at some point you get to that, you hit that stage like, okay, it's time to move on. I thought I knew what project I want to do next. Now I'm kind of waffling on that. I have just thought of a slightly more ambitious one to do, than I had originally planned. Okay, good. The brown actually has dried a little bit, which is nice. Yes, I do have a slightly more ambitious, but if I do that, I might do it more to scale of this guy, so we can kind of expedite things rather than have, like, say, a 10-inch tall figure. I can make it like a 6-inch tall something, so we can kind of expedite some of the process through, and we can spend more time doing other stuff rather than just kind of pushing clay around and doing large areas. Because figure, yeah, this is session 11 now, I believe, since starting this clay part. And in terms of both sculpting and painting. And figure both Kai and Bang took between like 45 to 50 sessions, like hours, to do modeling and painting combined. And this is going to be done in less than 10 hours of painting and modeling combined, because these aren't hour-long sessions. These are like 45-minute sessions, give or take. So in terms of just getting stuff done and looking good, this scale seems to be kind of working for me. So I think it kind of is, it's kind of okay. So rather than rock the boat, I can learn from that and I can go for it. The only issue I have with that is if I want to then store stuff and kind of display things, it becomes a little more awkwardly sized, because you do need some kind of mass on your things in order to display something nicely. So it's going to be that play between what do I put on camera to make camera stuff nice versus what I want to have with me to do my stuff, and just have it as something to go, ooh, wow, look what I did on the shelf somewhere or on display somewhere. But at the same time, if I want to do something more complex, doing it at a smaller scale helps, because then it'll help things go just a little bit quicker as well, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Okay, so if I take you off, can we see? No, we can't see any eyeballs on this whatsoever. So I'm pulling up my own image real quick. Nope, yeah. Okay, on that one, yeah, you can't see his eyes at all. And this one, you can't see his eyes. So, what color should I make his eyes? I'm not gonna go black. That just seems wrong. Do we go with a hazel? Do I have like a hazily color? I could swear I did. Here, turquoise. Turquoise is like a hazel. All it really is like a dot. It's not getting much. But it really does help give something to kind of focus your eye on, to have just a pupil in here. So let's see if we can do this. And hopefully my head doesn't get in the camera here. There we go. Okay, I can see. Yeah, it doesn't need much, but it does instantly just gives the eyes something to rest on here, which is what we want. Okay, where'd you go? Back there. Okay, so with that in, what time are we at right now? 26 minutes. Okay. 26 minutes. Let's go put a coat of paint on the other book. That's going to be the dark gray. This is actually taking slightly longer than I thought it would at this point, but that's fine. Okay, dark gray. That's you. Alright, back to you again. This is actually kind of easier though, just having 3 pieces to worry about. So I don't have to take things apart, put it back together, and it's like, no, it's just... I actually kind of want glasses off for this one. Alright, I apologize if we're not on camera and or my face gets on camera. It's not what I'm looking for. I don't think you can see anything I'm doing. It's like, that's not my plan, isn't to have that stuff happen, but it might. Let's come back up here. I think gets us closer to being on camera. Once again, do kind of the cut-ins first, get the hard part done, and then we'll fill in the easy part after. This is my general kind of modus operandi at work too. Again, certain individual situations may change things, but I like saving easy stuff for the end because it kind of becomes that reward for doing the hard things. Unfortunately, not everyone at work seems to agree with that method, so they will do the easy stuff first, and then to a certain extent they know that if I get to that point they might have me do the hard stuff. So yeah, sometimes it would be nice just to maybe do some of the easy things first just so I can claim them as mine and not have somebody else kind of swoop in and do that under me and take away my good times. But that is a me problem at work. Every so often, not super often, but alright, trying not to get this. Can I go down just a little bit? Because my natural hand just wants to be right down here. Trying not to get this on his hand as best I can. But I do want to get all the way in there. Okay, and around the back side here. Yeah, my hope is to get a coat on his actual cloak here, but I also kind of want to get all this other stuff done first, so we're going to see if we get to that point. I didn't get anything on the brush. Alright, we almost done. We almost in there. Because really, I just need to get this. I can put a coat of paint on the pizza slice on his feet, which I'm not 100% sure on the color. It's like a yellow mix with something from what I can gather. So we're gonna have a little playing with that. Okay, so at least we have a coat on there. I can put that back away. So my doohickeys are over here. Let's actually have the camera facing its stuff. Alright, I need to put that away, wash this brush. Where's the water? Over here. I've been washing so much yellow stuff from that hair, it is still a yellow color. Oh, that hair. That hair, trying to do anything with yellow is just a thing. Any kind of yellow color is just a thing. That said, this feet stuff is a yellow kind of mix, and it looks like it takes... Yeah, it kind of looks like the yellow on the feet are going to match kind of yellow on the scroll, which you can see is going to have a little more on the leg, which I never put any of that on the legs yet. I never actually really did anything else on the legs. So if I can find a color I like for this, then I can bring this somewhere else. So if not, then it's going to be what it is. Right now I have a mixture of my yellow with the lime green. I might add a little bit of white in there to kind of tone it down just a little bit, because this could be a very interesting color. And yeah, if this one works, decent chance I will be using it somewhere else. But yeah, I have zero idea if this is going to be worth anything in the end. Okay, the green overpowered the yellow in this by far. Green very much overpowered that yellow. Let's add a lot more yellow to it. Okay, now we're kind of getting into that little bit of that range. And yeah, I think I do want to add a little bit of white just to tone this down a little bit. This is a little too in your face. Right, I'm just going to add a couple drops. I'm not adding too much in there. We're just going to... Because all it's going to do is bring it back to a little bit more of a neutrally color. We are a little greenish, but I think we're okay, and this does feel like a color I can bring into the platform legs and whatnot as we get into that. So let's go with it. We doing this with one of these brushes. Whoop. That's right, I did just paint that. All right, glasses are off again. You're coming back down here. Yeah, now between the two drawings, as you had seen before, there are two. Wow, this does not cover well at all. It was either on the other drawing, it's like red shoes with the yellow kind of detail-y things going on, whereas the image I'm going off of is the yellow base with the red kind of pepperoni slices on there. So we're going to go with this one right now, see how it feels, and then we can always change it. Not 100% sold on this color, but at the same time, it makes for a decent base color, even if it doesn't cover anything at all. Still on camera, kind of. Yeah, okay. I need to find more stuff to talk about other than, am I on camera? Am I on camera? Seems to be all I ever say. I need new stuff. But it's been such a slow week. It has not been, work-wise, like the most exciting of weeks. Which isn't a bad thing. I'm okay with that. Our previous month-long project did finally pass all the inspections, so we done. We officially done. Not that we were expected to. We weren't exactly expecting to fail anything, but it's just, it's like back in grade school and you have a test coming up. It's like, you study the stuff, you know everything, but you still get nervous before the test anyway, just because it's kind of the same feeling. But it's done. It is done. It is good. We passed. Everyone's happy. We can move on. And right now, moving on means we just have a couple of little things. Kind of we're trying to bang out on our list before we start the next major stuff or major project again. So we're kind of in our little bit of handyman-ish mode going on. Okay, this needs more white or something. Tone it down. So that's gonna get, this will get toned down in the end for sure. That is too bright, but that's okay. Again, like I said, that's a base color. It's gonna be, it works as a base color. We can always touch it up. Where are we in time? 37. Okay, so I can mix something for the main cloak. It may not, again, it's not going to look 100% correct, but as long as I get something on there, I think that'll be fine. Because that gives a base of something to go off of. Plus, when we come back, I can then, once I get a coat on right now, I can always finish it off camera. But before I do that, how are we actually looking now at these changes we've done? The changes we've done, yeah, until that cloak gets done, doesn't really look like much is happening. You have a couple books that need better cut-ins, but again, I'm going to be able to do, I can do much better cut-ins off camera than on camera. It just is. So don't think too badly of that just by looking at it right now. Okay, that's it. I was going to try to give this thing a little bit of shine as to have, I think you need some visual interest, and shine helps give a little interest. So I'm going to, shine helps give a little visual interest in that. So I'm going to be using the satin on the cloak here, and I'm going to mix again the purple and the white. We're going to go probably just a little bit deeper than what I had on this the first time, and we're going to go with that. Again, I forget if I shook these things out or not off camera before, so we're going to do a little bit of that right now. Now my anticipation on this is it might come off a little blotchy in the end, but just bear with that. We will get it right in the end. We're not gonna, this will look better than the platform in the end. I think, more purple. Yep, I need more purple. Less white, more purple. But actually, you know what, I'm just going to start with that. I'm just going to do a first coat with this. I'm going to see how it goes, because I feel like it's going to dry darker than that. It starts out light when it's a liquid. It's going to dry darker. So just, yeah, I'm going to just assume it's going to dry darker. And I do need to do some actual cut-in on this. So I'm going to use the smaller brush again. That, and it does, I can get inside here easy enough. And it's easier going from the inside out than the other way around. Plus, by getting this thing done early, I can then put it on the stand. By the time I get to a point where I would want to put it on a stand, this will be dry enough to put it on the stand. So, we're going to do that. It's still bugging me. I knew exactly what I wanted to do for the next model. And then last night, I started brainstorming some things. I got some crazy ideas in mind. I might be doing the dumb and doing. Again, kind of like this one, I can say it's one project, but I would have to break it down into different parts, I would think, and just like mentally call it several different parts rather than just a single project. I think that will help mentally go through it. But again, I would probably do characters or whatnot that are comparable in size to mid here, just so we can kind of get on with things. Otherwise, I would be on that one probably for the rest of the year. And I don't know if I want to put that much time into this. Because again, I'm only doing like 2 to 2.5 hours per week on this stuff, at least on camera wise. You only get so much stuff done in that kind of time frame. Not gonna lie. Things wind up taking longer than you want them to. Now I know I have like the little buttons on here, and that's fine. I can pop those in on top of this. So I'm just going to paint first, and I can re-add them after the fact. And this is already feeling darker than it looks in here, so yeah, I think not adding any more purple to this was the right call. You know, I'm going to move this camera back to kind of how it was for the other painting session, because I just feel like, especially for this, where I don't really need to be super careful on how I'm doing this. You can see things probably a little better with the camera over there. If I put this on camera over here. I do have some little touch-ups. Now, again, touch-ups, it's expected every once in a while you're going to get paint where you don't want to get paint onto. So I will be doing touch-ups off camera, at least on that regard. So although I will do what I can to not like get paint on his hands or on the books or whatnot. If it does happen, or I say if or when it does happen, we will be dealing with that. So not a problem there. As I hit the camera, let's not do that. Okay, all right, I can hold that, and that gets life a little bit easier. That's always kind of the trick, is where do you actually hold stuff when you start doing these things? Because there are some people who can just kind of keep something stationary, just kind of pop this on a spike and just kind of paint it from there, from all over. You've probably noticed by now, I am a big fan of just moving things around all the time. Literally just all the time. I am moving this thing around, moving it one way, moving another way, just kind of big fan of that. Just kind of get the project to a point that's most advantageous for me to get to what I need to easier, rather than try to work around a form that may or may not be right. Which hopefully doesn't make you guys sick watching it, but it's not the intention, but it could happen. Okay, we getting there. We getting there. Hopefully this is gonna be good. I'm already feeling kind of okay with this. But I'm more kind of curious how the satin finish of this is gonna play with the matte finish of all the other stuff, except the hair. So, kind of curious on that front. Okay, we're getting around. Now, unfortunately, I am probably going to need to, if this takes more than just a couple coats, I might need to mix some more of this color. So if I really, 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 really like this color, it might be slightly different in the end, depending how many coats I need. It is covering pretty decently, though, right now. It's not like I'm going to get it in one coat, but it is definitely covering better than like the browns and yellows and reds and greens. So there's hope that we can get this within just a couple layers and we're done. Once again, I need to be good. This is where having the metal rod down the book kind of comes in handy, because I can hold this and I know that it is 100% structural, because it does have the metal dowel in there. And because this is a satin, I can't necessarily visually see if this thing is dry or not, because it's always going to have that little bit of a shine to it. Part of me says this should be a matte finish, part of me says it should be the semi, but I figured let's try the bolder one first, and we can always tone it down after, but let's at least try the bold version. Because again, it's not necessarily what he looks like this, it's going to be what he looks like when he's on the platform thing, and we do need him to be the visual beacon on there. He is what your eye kind of goes towards, not the other stuff. Okay, so I have that. I'm going to put that down. I'm going to put you down over there. I'm going to wash this out wherever I put the water. That was the last of my plastic baggies, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff I've done on the platform, even if it's in bags right now, will have hecka hardened out quite a long time ago. So I can just trade for one of those. And I don't think that's going to be a problem. And we are at the end of the session. We're almost at 50 minutes. All right, so let's see how we did. Let's see how we did in the end. Everything here needs another coat, so if I get a little bit of a dark on this, that's going to be fine. Again, goal is just going to get a rough idea on colors and see if we generally like the direction we're going. Okay, Not bad. In the drawing, all right, so in the artwork on the side, the hood is the same color. He has the hood is the same color as this. I think I want to change that. I think we need a little bit of something going on up here to differentiate it. So I don't necessarily think that's working. I'm not opposed to the shoes, actually. I think they just need to be toned down a little bit, add a little more of the white or something to that, just to tone it down just a bit. But I'm not super opposed to those shoes as is. And the book color is not terrible. So I think we're not in a bad place. Yeah, playing with the skin tone up here and the hood area I think is going to help with this. Putting two little buttons on that might help. So a couple little tweak things coming up, but we're not in a bad place at the moment. I'm feeling kind of okay. If I move some of this stuff out of the way so I have better background going on here. We have progress. All right, there we go. We can see him versus our inspiration image. So it's a much more vibrant purple on here. It's almost like we need to put a little bit of a maroonish color or something into this, kind of tone it down from a direct purple into something more like that. So I'll think about that next time too. All right, so I have a couple things to think about, but I'm glad we got this thing down on here, so it gives an idea of what to think of for next time. But at least we got a start. And yeah, hopefully next time off camera, I'll figure some things out. And next time he should be done. And we'll be moving on to the final stage of make the entire project come together and look good. So look forward to that. And until then, enjoy.